Hi love, welcome back. In today's class we are making this beautiful water wave dress. If you are new to the channel, my name is Miss Ayi and you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you my love, thank you darling, thank you sweetheart for always coming back. So we made our skirt for this in our previous video, and this is just a continuation video on how to turn the skirts into a dress. So if you haven't watched that video, please go and watch that video and come back when you're done. For those who have watched the tutorial of the skirt, let's get right into class. So this is the skirt, and I'm going to take off my adjustment chain, and we are going to divide this skirt into two. So I'm going to put my stitch marker on the size of the skirt. So where we slip stitch will be the center of our skirt, and this is how to count. So this is 1 and 2, 3, 4. So that's the middle, and 4. So I have 4, 4. So I'm going to put my stitch markers on the side. So that is 1, 2, and 1, 2 from the other side. So that would be the size of my work. So to start off, you are going to turn to the back side where the slip stitch is, and you are going to attach your pink yarn. I'm going to chain 1, and this row would be a single crochet row, back loop only. So I'm going to turn my work, and inside the double crochets we started off the skirt, you are going to go inside each double crochet with a back loop single crochet all around to complete this row. At the end of the row, you are going to slip stitch inside the single crochet space at the very first chain 1. You are going to cut and fasten your yarn. So this would be the complete of the skirt, and now we will start the top parts. To start out the top part, you are going to attach your yarn, your color yarn. So that's the middle. So inside the middle of our next curve, that is where you are going to attach your yarn, and you're going to chain 4. So after the 4, in the next stitch you are going to make 5 double crochets. So we are attaching the yarn exactly as at where we made our 5 double crochets, our 5 treble crochets in the previous row. So just gauge that and make your 5 treble crochets and make your 1 treble and skip 1, make your second treble. So you are going to make 9 trebles, but you're going to be skipping 1 in between, just as we did for the skirt, the same pattern. So make your trebles and keep doing this until you get to the other side of the skirt, and with the other side again you are going to skip 1. You're going to skip a whole curve. I don't know how to say this, but I'm going to show you where to end your work. So this is the sides of the work where we earlier put our stitch marker. So when you get to that point, you should fall in the 5 treble crochet cluster. So you're going to put your 5 treble crochet cluster 2 times in the stitches, just as we are following the same pattern, just that with this one you will see your 5 trebles would be facing up, whilst as the skirt your 5 trebles was facing down. That is the only thing that is going to change. Aside that, everything remains the same. And after your work, you would hardly notice. Beginning of the work, it may seem a bit, you will not understand, but as you proceed, it will all come together. You're going to keep working the same stitches until the other side, and I'm going to place a stitch marker. So this is where you are going to end. That's the middle center. So we are only skipping 19 from this side, 19 from the other side. But if you want, you can start your work from the size of the work, the size where we put the stitch marker, or just divide your work into two and start from the sides, and that also work. Now at the end of the row, you are going to chain one, and just as we were doing for the pattern, we are going to make single crochets back loop only in the treble crochets until the end of the row. At the end of the row, you are going to chain 4. This is row 3, and you are going to make a treble, skip 1, and make 5 trebles in the same stitch. You are going to make your next treble in the next stitch, and you are going to work your, so because we skipped 1 this row, we would have 8 individual treble instead of 9, and when we get to our cluster, we are still going to repeat the cluster and go around until you get to the other side, and we shall skip 1, and with the other side we should also have 8 individual treble instead of 9. So keep working, and I'll meet you at the other side, and we shall decrease 1 stitch. I'm at the ending, and we are going to decrease 1 stitch, and so you make your treble, you are going to skip 1 stitch and make your, so after your 5 trebles in the same stitch, you would have 3 stitch remaining, sorry, you would have 2 stitches remaining. You are going to skip 1 and make your last treble in the last stitch, and you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to work single crochets back loop only in all the stitches until the end of the row. So the single crochets back loop only until the end of the row, and that will be row 4. So I'll meet you at the end, and we shall continue with row 5. Row 5, you are going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You are going to turn your work, and we will be making decreases. So inside the next stitch, you are going to make your treble, but you don't complete it, and you are going to yarn over 2 times and make a treble in the next stitch and pull through all. So you've combined the 2 treble to 1. In the following stitch, you are going to make your treble. So this is what you should be having. Now you are going to skip 1 and make your treble in the next, and you are going to repeat this until you get to, you have to eyeball where you make the 5 double crochets in the next, in the following 5 double crochet space and 5 treble space. So you can see at this point we didn't start off by making our 5 trebles as usual, but we made a decrease. So just work this, and when you get to our trebles, at this point you are going to keep repeating the 5 trebles in 2 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. So you are going to make your 5 trebles in the 2 stitches until the end of the row. So at the end of the row, we are not going to make our last 5 trebles, but rather we are going to make a decrease, and we'll put our last treble in the last stitch. Row 6, you are going to chain 1 and you are going to work single crochet back loop only. So the 2 stitches we decrease would be 1 stitch. So you are going to work single crochet back loop until the end of the row. You cut and we will switch off to our mint color. So you are going to chain 4 for row 7. Inside the first stitch, we are going to start off making our decrease. So make your treble, don't complete it. You are going to skip 1, and in the next stitch we are going to make our treble and complete. So that would be your decrease, and you are going to work your skip 1, make your trebles until you get to just eyeball where the cluster of trebles are. When you get there, make sure you make your 5 trebles in the first stitch, 5 trebles in the next stitch, and you're going to continue until you are getting to the end, and we shall decrease again. So as we keep decreasing, you would notice the size of your work would be slanting, and the front parts would be the same. So make 5 trebles in the first stitch and 5 trebles in the following stitch, and we are going to keep the pattern until we are at the end of the row, and we shall decrease again. You're always going to make sure that you would have the same number of stitches at the beginning and also at the end. So you are going to just count and make sure you are not skipping stitch. You have the same exact of numbers in the beginning and also at the end of the row. So at the end, you are going to chain 1 again, turn your work, and you are going to make your single crochets back loop only. And always note that where you decrease, where you made 2 stitch 1, that counts as 1. So when you are making your single crochet back loop only, you are going to work in that stitch as 1, not individual. So go ahead and complete row 8, and I'll meet you and we'll start off with row 9. Row 9, you are going to chain 4 as usual. I'm so sorry, my love, my work is out of focus, but you're going to chain 4 and you're going to make your treble decrease in the following stage, and you're going to skip 1 and complete it in the next stitch, just as we did for the previous row. And you're going to skip 1, make your treble, skip 1, make your treble. And now we get to when you get to where you make your 5 trebles, you are going to make your 5 trebles or 5 clusters on top of the previous cluster, and you are going to make your 1 2 3 4 5. With this row 9, we are only going to make 5 cluster because we are looking to decrease that side. So just make your 9 trebles until the end of the row, so you don't have to make your next cluster. So in that space, you are going to make only 1 treble, skip 1, make your treble in the next. So you're going to only make 9 individual trebles instead of 2 clusters of trebles and your 9 individual trebles. So keep doing this, and when you get to the other side, you are not going to make 2 cluster, but you are going to only make 1 cluster. That's 5 trebles in the same stitch. So you are going to gauge between your middle, and you are going to make your 5 trebles, and you are going to make sure you count your stitches and repeat the same exact step. So you are going to make your treble, skip. So individual treble is making a treble, skip a stitch, make a treble, skip a stitch, and when you get to the end, you are going to decrease again and make your last treble in the last stitch and chain 1 and turn your work. Row 10, we are going to again make single crochet. You are going to chain 1, turn your work, and make single crochets in each stitch until the end of the row. Row 11, you are going to chain 4, turn your work, and in the very first stitch you are going to make your treble, but we are going to decrease. So don't make a complete treble, and you are going to skip a stitch and make your treble and complete it. And we are going to go ahead and skip a stitch, and so the stitch falls in where we made our 5 trebles, right? So we are going to just make trebles instead of making 5 cluster. So we are going to go ahead, skip 1, make a treble, skip 1, make a treble, skip 1, make a treble until you get to the other cluster. So we are on top, or we are getting to the other cluster, and you are going to eyeball it and make your 5 treble. So you're going to count it, and so that you would repeat the same exact step at the end of the row. So just eyeball it on top of this cluster. You are going to make your 5 trebles and 5 trebles in the next stitch again, and you're going to keep doing this until you get to the end of the row. And at the end of the row, you are going to make sure you count from the other side to see how many stitch, and you are going to repeat the same thing. But these trebles are individual trebles. Only the ending part is where you would make your decrease. The rest of the work, you are going to make a treble, skip 1, treble, skip 1. So we are looking to decrease until we only have this to get to where there's 3. So we have on top of this 1, 2, and the 3. We are going to stop decreasing from this point, and we will attach our hand. So for row 12, you are going to go ahead and make your single crochets in each stitch until the end of the row, and we are going to switch to our pink yarn, make chain 4, and we are going to make our decrease. So the decrease is a cluster, skip 1, a treble, skip 1 and make a treble to complete. And we are going to skip 1, keep skipping 1 and making trebles until you eyeball to the next cluster. So this is what we have, and when we are at the top of our cluster, that's our 5 trebles, We are going to make our 2 sets of trebles, our 2 sets of clusters. That's 5 treble in one stitch and 5 trebles in the next, and we will keep working until the end of the row. So we are going to make our 2 sets of trebles and we are going to work until the end of the row. At the end of the row, always count the other side to make sure you have the same number of stitches. Now you are going to chain 1, turn your work, and we are going to work single crochets back loop only until the end of the row. So this is the first row of our pink yarn, and the 4 rows remaining to complete our pink yarn. So you are going to chain 4, turn your work, and we are going to start off with our decrease. So we are going to make a treble, and we skip 1 and make a treble to complete, and we keep making our individual trebles until we are at the top of our work. And this point, we are not going to make 2 sets of clusters, but we are going to make 1 set. So just eyeball it and see where you want to place your 1 set of cluster, and 1 set of cluster means 5 trebles in the same stitch. Instead of 10, we are only going to make 5 in the same stitch, and after your 5 trebles in the next stitch, you are going to make 1 treble, and that's the beginning of your 9 individual cluster. So at the end of the row, you are going to make sure the beginning and the end is the same. At the end, you are going to chain 1 and you are going to make your single crochets back loop only until the end of the row. The end of the row, you are going to chain 4, turn your work. We are going to decrease in the first 3 stitches, so meaning you make a treble, skip 1, make a treble to complete, and this row, make a treble to complete. So go ahead and repeat the previous row for this. So we are only going to make 1 set of cluster, and that's making 5 trebles in the same stitch. When you eyeball to the center, you're only going to make 5 trebles. The only difference with this row is we are decreasing from the start. Other than that, we are making only 5 clusters, and you're going to work this until the end of the row. And when you get to the end of the row, make sure you decrease. And this is the end of the row, and now you're going to chain 1 and make your single crochets back loop only until the end of the row. I'm going to end my work here, but if you still want to continue, you don't have to decrease again. Just make sure you work straight for about 3 rows more, but I'm going to end my work here. When you end your work, chain 2 and make 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. The chain 2 counts as a double crochet. Turn your work and make 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. Chain 2, turn your work, make 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. So this is the hands or the strands, and you are going to work until your desired length for the strands, and we shall connect our yarn at the other side of the work and work the same amount of stitches at the other side of the work. So go ahead and make your desired length, and I'll meet you when I have my desired length for the strands. After we are done with one side, you are going to turn your work and connect your yarn, and you are going to chain 4. So we are connecting our yarn at the very first stitch, not the wavy at the top. And you're going to make 3 double crochets in the following 3 stitches. The chain 2 count as a double crochet. You're going to chain 2, turn your work and make 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches, chain 2, make 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. So this is what you're going to repeat until you have your desired length. If you haven't subscribed to the channel up until this point, my love, my darling, please do. And also leave us a comment under the comment section. Let us know how this video was helpful. Whatever you didn't understand, please let us know. We'll be very much glad to assist you. So you're going to make the number of length you want, and at the end of the row you're going to cut and fasten all loose ends. And I'm going to put this on the mannequin so we would see exactly how it looks. So the end, if you want, you're going to make a border around your work, and to make a border you're going to attach your work and chain 1, and inside the trebles you are going to make 4 single crochets inside each end row of the treble. You're going to make 4 single crochets. You're going to go round until the end. As I already said, this is not a beginner friendly tutorial for especially those who haven't watched the skirt video. If you watch the skirt video, then you would have more in-depth in whatever we are doing. If you don't watch the skirt video, this is going to be quite complicated for you. But if you have watched the skirt video and you're still having difficulties on any step of this video, please leave a comment down below. I would be very much glad to assist you. So you're going to go around with single crochets until the end of the row. At the top you can choose to work slip stitches or single crochet, but I'm going to go ahead and work my single crochets all around until the end. So at the end of your carry yarn, you're going to attach it to the pink and you're going to chain 2 or 1, cut and fasten your work. And my love, or my darlings, or my babies, this is the end of the video. You're going to make sure you cut, fasten all loose ends, and this is the backless, the space that would be showing, and this is what your work would be looking like. If you want, you can attach adjustment chain at the waist parts, and you are done. This is how the back looks like, and until we meet next week, my love, is bye bye.